It's loading right now. Let me know.
So thanks for your patience. What we're trying to do is we're trying to live stream this to the other room at the same exact time. We're also trying to live stream this to people around the world. We know we have a couple of different people that are watching right now, at least 3. So we're excited to have you join us. Paul's going to give me the cue when we're live. Oh, we're live. Oh, that's good. Thanks, buddy. Give me a technical help here. How are you all doing? Good. Well, thank you for joining us today at Discover USC and the ViterbiEXPO. We have a lot of guests in front of me. I know the camera can't see, but this is a full packed auditorium. This is our largest lecture hall on campus. We had to borrow it from the chemistry department, just so that you know. So if you're upset that we don't have enough seats, trust me, you'll like that when you have small class sizes. Okay. Now the other room across the hall on 124. Let's cheer out really loud and say how much fun you're having in here and see if they can hear you. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Now I don't know if they can hear us, but I'm going to ask 124, which is the other room across the way, whether they can do a big cheer out there. So let's go. 1, 2, 3, go. And everyone online. No, just kidding. Okay, not going to work. Well, thanks for joining us today for the expo. We have lots of stuff planned for you today. My name is Paul Ledesma. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Admission here at the USC Viterbi School. I've sent you a couple of emails. It seems like you've gotten them, so thanks for coming. Really appreciate it. We have a lot of information to go over about the engineering school, and we're going to discuss, what's that? Oh, was that the delay? Hey, they made it. Cool, we just caught up with you. Today what we're going to be discussing is we're going to talk about the Viterbi School overall and how that fits into the university. We're going to talk about the admission process. We're going to talk about the curriculum and experiences here. We're going to talk about basically, like I said, admission process, about how you apply, how you get in, and ultimately it describes to you what we believe the Viterbi advantage is. And the best way to do that is to show you all the things that we do and for you to meet a number of our students. And so that's what the ViterbiEXPO is about. You all have the handouts for the program for today, so hopefully you've taken a look at that. We'll go over that at the end before we release you into the expo with lots of seminars, lab tours, and just lots of great information for you to dig deep into today and decide whether this is a place that you'd like to apply. So a quick show of hands, how many of you are seniors in high school right now? Great. Do we have any juniors in high school? Okay, a few. You're not supposed to be here. Get out now. Just kidding. Sophomores. I know they're scared. I don't know if you anybody younger than a sophomore? All right, welcome. Congratulations. We'll see how you do today. We're tracking your every move. I'm kidding. Do we have any transfer students here today? Okay, great. Just so you know, this program is designed for first-year students. We're not going to talk about transferring today. That will be on transfer days. Some of this might be helpful, but just as a heads up, we're not going to discuss transferring. Some of us might be available for questions afterwards, but all of our process today is about the first-year process, okay? Just as a heads up, but thank you for joining us. Now, I think the first thing that we should discuss, and when we talk about our school and we talk about USC, is ultimately, what is our goal? What is the main goal? What is the mission? What is the vision statement? Whatever type of term you want to attach to it. We have a very specific goal here at the engineering school at USC. It's from the dean, and it's quite simply a couple words, but it's a grand vision, and that is to engineer a better world for all humanity. That's what we do. That's what we're focused on doing, and that's what we want you to do if you come to join us here. We're seeking to make the world a better place at all possible levels. That's what an engineer has always sought to do, and that's what we're going to be focusing on here, and that's for all society around the world. We do that with 5 very simple points, 5 very simple elements to reach that goal. Number 1, we need to do that with a diverse student body. These are our beliefs. If you don't agree with us, don't come here. But we want to make sure that we have a diverse student body, because in order to solve problems, we believe that you need the most diverse group of students to solve those problems. So a diverse group of engineers solves problems in a better way than a non-diverse group of engineers. We focus on collaboration and teamwork. We focus on making sure that you never compete with one another. This is not a competitive engineering school. This is a place where you're going to work together in teams in order to solve those problems. Again, if the job is to solve problems, then you're going to make sure you do it in groups. As an engineer, you're never going to work alone. So here, you're never going to work alone. We don't want you to. That's not a place to do that. Number 3, we believe that an interdisciplinary education, an opportunity to study more than engineering, is going to make you a better engineer. So we're going to force you to have an interdisciplinary education. We're going to make you take writing and communication classes. If you don't like it, don't come. All right? But I will tell you, the world's worst engineer is the one that has the best ideas and unable to effectively communicate that to anybody else. Right? So you're going to need this skill set, but you're going to have, that's at the base. And outside of that, if you have other ideas that you want to get into, we want you to explore those at USC. But interdisciplinary education is key. Number 4, we want to cultivate a mindset of social consciousness. Most of you already have this, but the idea that we're here to engineer a better world for all humanity means that we need to understand our social groups. We need to understand what's out there, and we need to be aware of the problems that affect them even though they don't affect you. Because that's our job. So we want to cultivate your mindset of social consciousness. And number 5, and this is on our side, we are going to constantly work to continuously add value. The one little secret in this whole process of looking at engineering schools, when you're looking at top engineering schools like you are because you came here today, there's no difference in the education. Sorry, spoiler alert. When they're ABET accredited by the Board of Engineering and Technology, that means that they're all standardized. They all output the same level of knowledge, the same ability to do the same skill set. What is different is the way that that curriculum is organized, the way that that curriculum is taught, the context of that curriculum, the environment, the people, and ultimately the things that you will do outside of your class and outside of those specific work groups. And we're going to work as hard as we can to continuously add value to our entire degree program and your experience as an undergraduate here. If I only had one slide to do it, this is the goal of the school. This is what we're going to do. Does this sound pretty good so far? Yeah. Good. We're all on board. No one's left yet. Good. So to describe our programs, let's describe the engineering school and how that compares to some of the other universities you might be looking at. If I could do it in a couple sentences, it would be this. It's a broad spectrum of academic programs in a small, flexible environment where you start in engineering right away. But being an engineer does not mean that that's a mutually exclusive decision to doing the main things you want to do in college, like studying abroad, pursuing other disciplines like a minor, or getting involved, or God forbid, having a social life. Going to college and becoming an engineer are not two different things. Being an engineer at USC is about combining those things and being able to do the things that you want to continue doing in your life. So the idea of having a broad spectrum of academic programs is where we start. There's a lot of things happening in the academics which we're going to discuss. In a small environment, which we'll discuss the numbers in a minute, with flexibility in mind, meaning that we don't expect you to have it figured out yet, and the opportunity to engage in that full university experience. This is unique, and there's no other engineering school you're applying to that does all of this in one spot. Let's go over some quick stats and details. Stats and details related to the school. I know you're all prospective engineers, so you love the numbers, right? You ready for some numbers for your spreadsheets? How many got spreadsheets back at home? Yeah, spreadsheets for those college apps process, right? You're filling those in with numbers? Trying to decide what the best one is? You're doing it wrong. Sorry, doesn't work that way. This isn't a quantitative process, but we'll discuss that in a minute. But I know you like your quantitative stuff, so I'm going to give you some numbers to place into that spreadsheet, okay? First off, pop quiz. How many of you know when was USC founded? 1880, absolutely. Plus 10 points in your application. Come find me afterward, I'll give you the coupon. Now, what year was engineering founded at USC? When did engineering start at USC? Oh, was this not, did we not force feed that to you earlier today? 1990? No, 1919. Still wrong. Other thoughts? Guesses? 1890. No. 1905. Sorry, no points for that one. We'll keep playing. 1905. The first engineering classes were offered here in 1905. This is actually one of the pictures of our first engineering courses at USC. Can anyone tell me what the first engineering class offered at USC was? They were surveying, yes.
Civil engineering.
Civil engineering, thank you very much. Plus 25. Was that for you, sir? All right, is that for your son? Sure, yeah, so you got 25 points. Come see me for the... But there's no points, I'm just making this up, guys, right? Just for everyone playing along, I'm just making this up. But plus 10, plus 25, great job. Now, one fun fact about this class, this is one of our first classes in civil engineering at USC. The professor in that class, which is actually this gentleman right here, still teaching here today. No, guys, come on. Are you serious? What, he'd be like 145 years old? Yeah, the thing about his class, though, it's only offered at night. You never see him at day. And he sparkles when he teaches. All right, 1905, first civil engineering class. Now, does anyone know why civil engineering was the first class offered? It's a harder one.
Build highways.
Build highways. Part of the answer? Sure, yes.
Ain't nobody had rockets back then.
Ain't nobody had rockets back then. I don't know whether to take points from you or give points from you. We're gonna call it a wash. Here's the deal. Highways, sure, because if you can imagine what Los Angeles and Southern California. What happened? What?
Property development.
Property development, yeah. So if you can imagine what Los Angeles and Southern California looked like at the time, it was quite honestly the Wild West. This was dirt roads and horses and saloons and horses tied to saloons. It was all these different things. From this photo set, actually on our website, you can view some of the other ones. Some of the first students actually doing some of this surveying out on, literally there's a horse behind them, and it looks like the Wild West, looks like Knott's Berry Farm. And they're out there, they're basically doing these land surveys, and it says our first civil engineering students circa 1905, 1906. And it says at the bottom, it says that's 4th and Olive, downtown Los Angeles. So if you can imagine, this was not always like this. Now, it wasn't about civil engineering, oh, we need highways, or oh, we need property development necessarily, but more specifically, there was the dawn of one of the largest growing mega cities in the world. This was going to be the fastest growing metropolitan city ever. And so as a result of that, we, as an engineering school, looked around before we did engineering school and said, we need an engineering school. Why? Because our problems that we see around us need solutions. We need infrastructure. Highways are part of that. Property development is part of that. So are waterways and wastewater. The entire infrastructure of a city that was going to grow faster than anything else, we needed to address it right away. That was establishing our mindset back then, about looking at the world around us, identifying the problems that are real, and working to develop solutions towards that problem. The only thing that has changed is our scope. We now do that in a global society. And we do that across 10 engineering disciplines. 10 different types of engineering areas that we're offering here. About other engineering schools that you might be visiting, they're offering usually around 5 or 6. That doesn't make us better, it just makes us a little more broad. And the reason we're more broad is because we believe that it means those engineers need to work together to solve those problems that are out there, because the problems are complex, and world problems, society problems, do not organize themselves into academic silos. I don't know what just happened. Wow, something just happened to my slides. Okay, here we go. That was really weird. That's never happened before. Sorry. So we have this idea of 10 different disciplines. We also have over 300 faculty working to teach you as undergraduates here at the engineering school. And all of your classes will be taught by faculty. Those faculty are doing over $207 million in our annual research expenditures every single year. This is one of the highest amounts of research dollars per tenure track faculty of any engineering school in the world. It is one of the highest. There's more research here being done almost per capita than any other engineering school that's out there, which means you as undergraduates have more opportunities to get involved here than practically anywhere else. Some people ask me, where's the engineering building? There are over 20 different engineering buildings. You're going to see a number of them on today's tours and today's expo that we're going on today. There's a lot happening here. And we also have over 30 majors on this campus. So when you have 30 majors focused on engineering, this is a very broad space, right? We're going to discuss how those all break down in specifics. This last year, as far as the application pool is concerned, and that's what some of you are wondering about, for our first year class, we had about 14,000 applications to our first year class. That was of the 66,000 total applications at USC. So there's 66,000 applications to USC, about 14,000 of them for the engineering school. And we only enrolled 410 first-year students this fall. I know, I'm sorry. This is a very small place where we focus on your success. And that gets even smaller when you think about your classes. Each year you're going to take an introduction specifically to your engineering discipline right away. An introduction specifically to that discipline. So you're understanding exactly what it is you're getting into and knowing what it is. Understand what biomedical engineering is all about, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering. Take introduction specifically to that discipline in your first year here at USC. And when you add up all of our introductory to engineering classes in your freshman year, those add up to be about 35 students per class. Taught by faculty, because all of your classes are taught by faculty. A good number of you are going to take our Engineering Freshman Academy alongside that class in your freshman year, first semester. In our Freshman Academy, that class taught by faculty, non-discipline specific introduction to the profession of engineering, is usually under 30 students per class. For most of you, this will be your first 2 classes in engineering right away here. We're focused on a small environment and providing you the resources to be successful. That's what we're focused on. And we're going to be focused on that all the way through, continuously adding value. Like our Grand Challenge Scholars Program. We're one of the first universities to start this program. It's now nationwide. And every year, we're going to be graduating at least 50 National Academy of Engineering Grand Challenge Scholars. We are constantly the school that is naming the most Grand Challenge Scholars to the National Academy every single year. And over the entire span of the Grand Challenge Scholars Program, we always have the most. That is a point of pride. And we're going to talk about that program in a moment. And ultimately, this whole thing has no point unless you're going somewhere else afterward. That's why we're going to be bringing over 185 companies to our career fair every single year in the fall. We have hundreds and hundreds of companies coming onto campus to recruit you as undergraduates for internships, co-ops, and full-time positions after graduation. This last fall, we had over 185 companies looking to recruit our students for internships, co-ops, and full-time positions. Fun note, that was the engineering career fair. 2 weeks prior was the USC-wide career fair. They had 190. For the entire university, 185 for the engineering school, just to give you a sense of scale. All right, does these numbers make sense? Good, let's get you more numbers. You like numbers, right? Let's talk about our students. We talked about an incredibly diverse student body. That is a priority of ours. And so I have some stats to share with you that I think are incredibly important. Number 1, non-California residents. How many of you are from California? How many of you are not from California? Okay, that number will flip when you get here. This is not a quota. This is not what we're shooting for. I know that's hard to give that number in the state of California. This is just reflective of our applicant pool. Okay? It's not any more difficult or easier to get admitted based on where you're from. We are a private school, and I want to emphasize that. We are a private school. It's just that our name sounds very public. Okay? But what this means is that when you come to USC, you're coming through students enrolled from everywhere. A diverse student body, and I mean diverse in the most expansive way you could possibly think. Where people are from, how people think, what their ideas are, how they're going to work, what they're going to want to do when they get here, and what they're going to do when they get out of here. A diverse student body is important. So just as a heads up, the majority of the students here are not from California. That's an important point, and that's a good point, because then it's not just your high school all over again. Right? This is an opportunity to start doing something a little bit different. We have a number of international students, actually, but that number is not as high as you might think it is. It's actually about 17%. When you look at each of our incoming classes in aggregate over the last couple of years, about 17% of each incoming class are international students. This is not a quota. My mic's going out. This is not a quota. This is not something that we're shooting to do. This is just reflective of our applicant pool. So our applicant pool changes from year to year, but this is basically what we're looking at. This is a nice number we want to be at. This is just on par with the rest of the university. This is no different than the university. The university is around 16 to 18% on each incoming class as well, international. Now, historically underrepresented minorities, what I'm abbreviating here to URM. Historically underrepresented minorities are traditionally defined as African American, Latinx, and Native American students. This is specific to underrepresented in undergraduate engineering programs. It's a very specific qualification. Those are historically underrepresented. That number nationwide is right around 13 to 14%. Just as a heads up, it's not a good number. We're happy to say that in aggregate, over the last couple of years, our average is about 21%, which we're doing quite well, and we're excited about that. But we could be doing better, and so we're looking for you in our applicant pool. First generation college goers, meaning that your parents did not go to college. This is an important number. This is a really, really important number. And for us, in aggregate, over the last couple of years, around 17% of our incoming class are first generation college goers. This number is insane for an engineering school. You rarely find this in an engineering school. We're actually sometimes higher each year than the university overall, and that's a large point of pride with us. And the last moment of diversity or demographics you should be aware of is gender, right? Sometimes you ask that question, what's the percentage of women that are enrolled in undergraduate engineering programs? Does anyone know the national average of women enrolled in undergraduate engineering programs? It's right around 20%. 21% is the last number I saw, and it depends on your source, but it hovers in the 20 to 22%. Sometimes it goes up to 24. I've seen it go as high as that, but I've never seen it higher than that, and the sources always change. I'm sad to say that I do not have a number to share with you here. I only have this. This is a big deal. We're 50-50. This is the first engineering school to reach gender parity in its last incoming class. That's a big deal. I guess I'm going to have to keep asking for those things. Now, reaching gender parity in our this current incoming class was literally 50% women, 50% men. We shoot for 410. We actually enrolled, I'll give you the exact numbers. We actually enrolled 407, got it that close. And 204 of them were men, 203 were women. That's exciting. This is a big deal. So, now, can your class, for all you seniors in the room, can your class keep this up? Can we maintain parity as we move forward? The gentlemen know what they like. All right, good. This is a big deal. I really, really hope so. This is a big deal. But do you think you can do it? There's nothing I can do about it. It's your applicant pool. So if you're all going to be applying, then that's going to be an important part. So make sure you're sharing this. We're really excited about this. Be the first school to reach gender parity in its incoming class. Now, let's talk about our majors. There's a lot of stuff to discuss, right? We offer 10 different engineering disciplines, 10 different areas of engineering, right? We offer aerospace and astronautical and biomedical and chemical and civil and computer science and electrical and computer engineering, environmental and industrial systems and mechanical engineering. Practically anything you'd want to study when it comes to engineering, we are offering here at the university. It is a very broad spectrum. Do you all see the major that you're thinking about? Do all of you see more than one that you're thinking about? Yes. You're what we call undeclared engineers. Those of you that don't know what you want to do, that's why we also offer that as well. Okay, 10 different areas, including this idea of undeclared engineering, this idea that you're not supposed to have it figured out. Okay? You're not supposed to have it figured out. In your high schools, how many of your high schools offer courses in astronautical engineering? How many of your high schools offer courses in biomedical engineering? How many of you are interested in biomedical engineering? Raise your hands high. Own it. Own it. There we go. Now, how do you know that if you've never done it?
I've talked to scientists,
You talk to scientists but not engineers.
Yeah, people doing bioengineering, inside stuff.
You've talked to them and they didn't turn you off. Okay, you've talked to them and you still want to do it. Okay, so when we talk about 10 disciplines, right? There are 10 disciplines in the area and 30-degree programs. How do we break that up? So for example, in biomedical engineering, when you look at the application, there are 4 different degrees in biomedical engineering. Biomedical with an electrical emphasis, biomedical with a mechanical emphasis, and biomedical with a molecular cellular emphasis. What was your name? Stephanie. Which one are you choosing?
Molecular and cellular emphasis.
Biomedical with a molecular cellular emphasis. You're confident in that? You're going to do that for the rest of your life, 100%, never going to change your mind.
I like it right now.
I like it right now, but I don't know, come on. But you're so confident. You launched it with molecular cellular.
I mean, that's where I am right now. But
No, you're in that chair right now. You're not in that ride. Let's go to our friend next to you. You also read biomedical engineering, right?
Yeah.
Which one?
I would do the mechanical one.
Biomedical mechanical. How do you know that?
Because I do robotics and I do vector robotics. And I
So why not do mechanical?
Because I also like the medical field as well because I also do a lot of
Okay, cool. So you're set 100%, never going to change your mind, always going to do that for the rest of your life. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, let's talk about computer science for a quick second. How many are interested in computer science? That's the easy one, right? It's just computer science. No, there are 6. Computer science games, computer science business, computer engineering and computer science, electrical and computer engineering, and industrial systems engineering and information systems. Who raised their hand? Oh, you're dreading it now, buddy. Which one?
Computer engineering.
I didn't say computer engineering. I'll do it again. Computer science games, computer science business, computer engineering and computer science, electrical and computer engineering, and industrial systems engineering and information systems.
Computer engineering and computer science.
Computer engineering and computer science. You're confident in that. You know that that's exactly what you want to do. You're going to put that down in the application, and you're always going to do it for the rest of your life. No. Okay. Here's the deal. I love doing this for 2 reasons. 1, love to watch you squirm. Thank you guys for playing along. Come see me at the tent. I actually do have gifts for you because you're my victims. And I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I like to do that. Watch the square in a second. I like to point out that this point real quick, that these questions are entirely unfair. You are not supposed to have answers to these questions, especially in that order of drilling, that order of magnitude into you, right? And I appreciate you. I think you're just saying yes so I would stop talking to you, to be honest with you. And that's yeah, just go away. Yeah, just yes. And that's okay. That's totally fine. All of you are going to feel that way. The point when you look at these disciplines is that this small list is overwhelming. And when you start with the Common App, and you fill out the Common App, it goes like this. You fill out your name. You're like, I know that one. Address, I'm good. Wait, Mom, what's our zip code? You keep going, and then you get to that first choice major on the USC supplement. And on the first choice major, it says, what is your first choice major? And there's a pull-down list. Have you done this yet? That pull-down list is 150 majors. And you're like, oh my God, I don't know. What about, I love my psychology class. Am I interested in psychology? I might be interested in psychology. I'm not turning down med school. I might be interested in law school. That might be interesting. And then you kind of slap yourself in the face for a little bit and you say, no. Engineering. That's what I'm thinking, right? Some of you are doing that. Some of you are still having that conversation about law school, right? You are. I know. Every engineer goes through that phase. We'll get there. So this idea of going down that road, you look at the major, like, okay, I'm going to go to engineering. And then you get to that point, it's 30. And you're like, no, I'm biomedical. Easy. Let me find that one. Oh my God, there's 4. What is the difference between these? And then you call me in a panic, and you're like, can you tell me all the differences? No. Can you explain to me exactly which one's right for me? No. I can describe the programs. I can show you curriculum plans. It's all available online. It's all available in stuff we're going to give you today. But there is not an answer to this question. Because what the question you're posing is which one is the correct answer. You're doing it wrong. It's not which one's the correct answer. There is no exact space for all of you. There's a space that sounds cool. So what I want you to do is add a translation filter to anyone that asks you questions like this. Usually it's Aunt Rosie or Grandma, right? Where are you going to school next year? What are you going to study? What are you doing? And you don't have questions for that at all. It's similar to what I just did. You can do that for the rest of your life. And when you add that translation filter, anytime they ask you any version of that question, I want you to just translate it to what sounds the coolest to you right now, which is basically how you were trying to force me, like, just let me go, right? It's right now, right? And that's exactly right. You don't need to have a correct answer that's 100% true and accurate. You're just trying to figure out what sounds cool right now. And you put that down on your application. Our process picks it up from there, and you start taking courses immediately when you get here in that discipline to ask you 2 very specific questions. Number 1, what the heck is this? And number 2, do you like it? That's the whole point of that first semester. Understand what the discipline is all about. Decide whether it's something that's jiving what you thought it was going to be. And decide whether you want to keep moving forward. And then you keep moving forward. You're not able to actually look at this ahead of time, research it to the nth degree, and decide what's right for you before you get into it. It's a process we're going to help you with. The idea of where you're going to go in your life from a professional standpoint is an evolution. It's an experiential evolution, of which you have not had any of the experiences yet. You've had all of the prerequisite experiences, which is math and science classes in high school, where you've piqued your interest around the idea of engineering, or robotics teams, or things like that, where you start saying, this is a place that sounds cool. I like this idea of problem solving. I like tinkering with this. And people have told you, oh, you like math and science, why don't you look at engineering? And your first question back to them is, what's engineering? And they say, it has lots of math and science. And that's kind of as far as we go. And then you go talk to scientists or engineers because you're hardcore A students, and you say, what do you do? And they give you such a specific, narrow version of what they do, it actually doesn't answer your question. Good, or it's so specific, it sounds great, but what if that's not what you do? So there's so many weird levels to this, that it's an experience, and that's what our undergraduate experience is all about. We do not expect you to have it figured out on our application. We don't even have you expect you to figure it out when you get here. We're going to help you figure it out. All I need you to do is make sure you indicate your interest as first choice major on the application. And we're going to take it from there. Okay? Now, those majors are a little confusing because also they may not line up with something very specific you want to do. Right? When some of you get your jobs, on your job, when you get your job in your business card, it's not going to say you're a biomedical engineer. Right? It's not like you go become a biomedical engineer somewhere, or you go become the mechanical engineer somewhere. The majority of your job titles are going to be product managers or project managers. That idea of actually working on something that's much more interdisciplinary and has lots of different elements for some sort of specific deliverable or output. All right? And that's going to be very, very specific. So let's change our focus, not on the discipline, but more specifically on the problems that exist outside today and how we can focus on empowering society through our engineering solutions. We have a nice shortcut for this. It's these ideas of problems that exist in these major tentpoles: water, security, infrastructure, how to enrich life overall, and health. These are kind of a slimmed down version of what is referred to as the National Academy of Engineering 14 Grand Challenges. The National Academy of Engineering has put together these 14 very specific grand challenges. It's at engineeringchallenges.org. You can look them up and read all about them. And where you look at these problems, these are the problems that are facing society today, according to the National Academy, that if we don't solve them as engineers, society will not move forward. That's literally their words. It's a large burden, but these are the problems that face us today that we must in order to solve. For example, providing clean access to drinking water around the world. The majority of the world still does not have that. Improving health informatics, reducing nuclear terror, increasing cybersecurity. All of these elements are big, and they demand complex solutions to come from engineers to solve them. And the other little magic there is that when you look at these problems, not one of them is related specifically to a discipline. There's no such thing as a societal problem of biomedical engineering. There are health-related problems, and of course that will involve biomedical engineering, but it will also involve electrical engineers and computer scientists and data scientists and, God forbid, non-engineers, doctors, right? Social workers, psychologists, neuroscientists. All of these people are going to come together to solve the grand challenges, and this is a big, big deal. We want you to focus on it. For those of you that have already started the application, you may recognize we force you to do homework on this. If you haven't looked at it yet, we ask you a specific question. We tell you to go to this website. We tell you to do the research. And we tell you to tell us what you think is the most important. Don't freak out. There's not a wrong answer. I get that email every year. I don't know which one's right. I don't either. The question is, which one do you think is the most important and why? And more specifically, I got this email last year. Oh my God, I can't figure out what's related to my discipline the most. And I said, that wasn't the question. The question is, what do you think is most important and why? Whatever you feel, whatever is interesting to you. This is not hard. There are no wrong answers. We just want to know how you think and how you're thinking. The grand challenges are important to us. It's important to us that we put it in the application. It's important to us that will frame the engineering academy in your first year. And it will be threaded throughout your undergraduate curriculum so that you're aware of them and focus on them. And as you start to supplement those elements into your curriculum, we want to actually get you on a focused plan to become one of our Grand Challenge Scholars. Last year, this is our 50 Grand Challenge Scholars. So they graduated in May. These are all them. And we're looking to incentivize that program as well. So some of our top students will actually receive cash incentives upon graduation for being the top Grand Challenge Scholars. Last year, a good portion of them received $1,000 checks at graduation. And that shiny medal that's around their neck. But this is what we're trying to do. This is exactly what we're trying to do. We're focused on that idea of engineering a better world for humanity. And that starts with having you focus on a smaller scale goal, which is make an impact. Make an impact. We want you to make an impact. We want you to be socially conscious. We want you to be aware of the things around you. And as such, we're going to be devising little curriculum plans and constantly adding value in order to do that. So for example, our Min Family Challenge for Social Entrepreneurship was launched a couple years ago. And this is an entrepreneurial competition like many other schools have, but its focus is on having a social impact. Last year, we focused the program on working on the Syrian refugee crisis.
Half of all Syrians, 11 million, have been forced from their homes, and many of them are driving the largest refugee crisis in Europe since World War II.
It's a sign of a world that has fundamental problems in protecting and defending the defenseless.
I saw a blurb about this class in a Facebook post, and I was blown away because I was like, that's actually the intersection that I didn't think existed between something I care so much about and my major, my love for design and my love for problem solving in a technical way.
Forget everything you know about what classes are, because that's not what this class is.
How is it possible that we can have a class this amazing doing such cool work?
We're kids, like, we just played some Fortnite and now we're here and now we want us to solve the refugee crisis. Like, what?
rising in Lesbos. The two camps, they're extremely overpopulated. Winter is coming.
We're specifically designing a jacket for the refugee experience.
Our app will basically be improving efficiency, optimizing how NGOs work.
We want to give you the information necessary for your survival in the first 3 weeks.
Having a personal shower might just improve someone's mental state.
Duet's idea can be adopted all the way across the world to help truly revolutionize philanthropy.
We could send 5 to Moria, even to Venezuela, where they're shutting off the water. They need our backpacks. We need to get it to them.
I feel like no one can understand our product better than the people we're designing it for. But we can make it. Yeah. So should we make one? Yeah.
Grading now, students are taking the course for a grade and they care about their grade, and yet we're telling them, don't focus on that, but focus on the lives. Complete shift of mentality.
Welcome. If you have open mind, open hearts, open souls, and you want to serve the humanity, welcome.
You should be anticipating how you're going to test what it is you're testing, whether it's an out wire frame, whether it's a strap, or whether it's a pan in the shower.
The pH, the temperature, how much minerals might be in the water. I think it's very feasible for us within a few months' time to have actual products on the ground.
Every team is building new ideas, they're innovating, and this class is in itself an innovation.
I think we're willing to go and take this to the end.
We can't get to the point when we build it that we're not prepared to start an actual company.
Even if I have to sleep less, this is the most meaningful project or class that I've taken.
Success for me in the context of this class is to be able to see a measurable difference in the lives of other people. That's why we're doing it.
We have potential. I feel like it'd be a shame to give out.
First year of that class focused on the Men Family Challenge. Those products did go launch, and actually excited to say that we're running that class again with a whole new group of students and new products right now. And so there, a few of them are actually over there. So it's really exciting. Very powerful stuff. Let's focus on the curriculum a little bit more. This is a 4-year program. Every one of you will graduate from USC with an engineering degree in nothing more than 4 years, as long as you do what we tell you to, which is a key element to that sentence. What that means is that I cannot guarantee that anyone will graduate in 4 years, because you hold half the cards. I can guarantee everything on our end of the program, which means that you're going to get all of the classes that you need in order to graduate on time. All those classes will be taught by faculty, and they will be in smaller class environments than are typically offered in an engineering school. And you will have mandatory academic advisement all 4 years, all 8 semesters as you go through that program to meet with someone before you register with classes. It's very easy for us to make it mandatory. We lock you out of the registration system. Every engineer at USC is locked out of the registration system until you meet with your advisor first. We force you to come talk to someone so we can ask you really tough questions. Like, how are you? How was last semester? And by the way, we know the answers to those questions. We're just curious what your take on it was. And then we can work as we move forward. And as you start to discover that you might not like one thing or might not like another thing, that we can help advise as you go. It's not like you're going down this pathway and you're expecting something at the end and then you're shocked to find out that something went wrong 4 semesters ago. We're not going to have that happen here. We're going to work very closely with you because of our scale. We know how to do that on a very human level. Okay? This is a place where we're focused on providing you everything that you need to be successful. But we can't do the work for you. We'll never hold your hand. We will introduce you to many people, but you have to shake their hand. Doors will be open, but you have to walk through them. That is the point of this place, okay? But it all focuses on you and your return of your level of work your level of engagement, and your level of the return that will come back to that will be quite equal, all right? Our program is focused, like I said, about starting right away. So each of you will take engineering immediately when you get here, so that you can be focused on flexibility. That sounds counterintuitive, but that's the point. You start taking engineering immediately so that you can find out whether you like it or not. We're different than other engineering programs where they do what I call front loading of prerequisites. They give you all your math and science, all your GEs in the first 2 years. And to some of you that might sound attractive because we haven't figured out what you want to study yet. So you're like, oh cool, I got time to figure it out. But all that does is it lock you into a program down the road, because what happens junior year when you take your first chemical engineering class and you don't like chemical engineering? You're kind of stuck at that point, right? So you're going to take your first chemical engineering class right away in your freshman year. That's the point here. So you can decide whether you like it or not as you go, all right? You're going to take engineering courses all 4 years. 8 semesters, 0 summers. That's how we line it up. This idea of 4 to 5 courses per semester is common, just like with any other USC student. You're taking the same amount of classes. Pretty confident you're doing way more work, but you're taking the same amount of classes of every student at USC. This will be a combination of theoretical and hands-on coursework. Many schools you visit will say we are a theory-based school, and they'll talk to you and they'll tout the benefits of a theory-based education, and we agree with them. And another school you'll visit will say, no, we're hands-on. We learn by doing. And they'll talk about how important that is, and we agree with them too. We just believe that should not be a mutually exclusive decision. We believe that having one impacts the other. The only way to get good at both of them is to do both of them. Because when you're going to go out afterwards, you're going to have a combination of theories and hands-on. It's about working that out and benefiting between the two. It's about a 50-50 split between theoretical coursework and hands-on coursework throughout your 4 years. The opportunity for research as undergrads is huge. As we talk about the research budget here, and undergraduates are involved in practically every research effort that's going on here on campus. You'll see some of those opportunities today. The internships and co-ops opportunities that we discussed earlier, it's not part of our formal curriculum, but you'll know that you'll have internships and opportunities to intern throughout your 4 years. Most students are doing that over the summer. And there's the only difference between internships and co-ops is co-ops are extended time and you take time away from class, but internships are still paid. That's the one great secret when I'm talking just engineering students, when we're away from all the other USC students, your internships are paid. That's not true everywhere else on campus. They pay you in the other jobs and experience. Engineers get paid. Okay, that's a big deal. Now, progressive degree program is a great opportunity as well. I want to mention our combined bachelor's master's program. You can combine your bachelor's and master's, and you can do that in reduced time, typically 5 years. And you can do that by combining it across engineering disciplines if the two programs agree. And most of our programs do. This program you have to apply as a freshman in high school, so I'm assuming you already did all that? So everybody just got really silent. No. I make that joke because I get the question, okay, so I have to apply for that? No, it has nothing to do with the application process. You're not even eligible to apply to that program until you're a junior at USC. So relax. You good, okay? Everything's good. Don't worry about that program. You get time to figure that out. And finally, this is a place where we want you to do more than just engineering. We talked about interdisciplinary education at the front of this. This is what we call, the idea of engineering plus is important to us. We're going to get into that in just a second. But your first semester here is the idea of taking classes right away. We talked about how that class is going to look, but these are the classes you're going to take. That introduction specifically to the engineering discipline. The majority of you will also take the Engineering Freshman Academy. You all take calculus. None of you are done. You're like, no, sir. Actually, no, you're not done. And the fact that you think you're done really means you're not done. Okay? None of you are done. You got plenty of work to do in mathematics. Okay? Now, you're going to, trust me, plenty. You got a general education course you're likely going to take, and you can choose that, and then some of you also have a writing class. So these are typically the 5 classes you're going to find in your freshman year, first semester. Every major is different, every student is slightly different, but this is generally what you're going to end up seeing. This is important because oftentimes we want to make sure that you get it started right, so you can figure out what you're going to do and build that level of a foundation so you can be flexible as you move forward. Some of you are going to say, well, I want to do all these minors and stuff. It's not going to affect your first semester. We're going to work on that as we go. Let's get that base settled first, and then we'll move forward, okay? The classes that you're going to take across your curriculum are going to be set up pretty simply. This is going to be the simplest graph you ever see in your world, right? This idea of engineering is going to take up a big part of your coursework, right? Now, engineering takes up over half of your coursework at USC. That's a lot of engineering courses. I hope you all know that. You're here, you want the engineering degree. This is a lot of work, right? It's a lot of engineering coursework. Now, you also have other courses as well. You're going to have those engineering classes, probably about 50 to 51%. You're going to have math and science classes make up 22%. So really you're talking about nearly 3/4 of your curriculum are STEM related. That's a lot of STEM. I love talking to high school students because they always say, oh, I can't wait to get out of high school because I can start studying what I really want to study. This is it, man. You wanted this. Like, well, can I take less of those? No, you wanted this. You don't want the engineering degree, go get the other degree, whatever that is, across campus. But if you want the engineering degree, this is what you do, right? You need to be able to do this stuff. And you're also going to take some general education. Now, general education is fun because it's the liberal arts focus. It's humanities and social issues. And most of the things that you guys want to study outside of engineering can sometimes be found in that. And we already make you take those things. And then you also have this idea of other, meaning whatever you want to take, right? Whatever you want to take outside of campus. Now, outside of the engineering school, and that's across this board. And some of you are going to be bringing in some AP and IB credit. You're going to be increasing this flexibility. You're going to have the opportunity to take lots of different things across this board. You can see full 4-year plans at ViterbiEDmission.usc.edu, where you signed up for the expo, where you did all this stuff. All of our degree plans are there. You'll see the optional electives. You'll see the opportunities for APs and IBs to come in. We can talk to you further about it at the booth later on, but trust me, you're all going to have the opportunity to engage in other things outside of engineering, and we want you to do this. This is what we refer to as Engineering Plus. Engineering Plus is about taking engineering but not stopping there. Engineering Plus is the beginning of an equation where you fill in the other side of it. Engineering plus blank equals you. This idea of holistic education is great that universities talk about. I just believe that we shouldn't predefine the whole. You tell me what makes you whole, what makes you full, what makes you complete, whatever your ideas are. And so outside of engineering, what are some of the things you want to study? Shout it out. Photography, film, philosophy, business, theater, Asian studies, political science, ethics,
Music.
what?
Music.
Music, history, business, yes. Econ. Law. It's a graduate degree. You'll get there. Others?
Gender studies.
Absolutely. It's not what you think it is, dude. Trust me, I had that shock too. I went straight into that class. Engineering Plus is about fulfilling all those ideas, and we want you to do that, whether that's taking some courses, pursuing a minor, or even being so bold to pursue an additional bachelor's degree. And you can do all that. They're all going to be more than just your engineering degree. Nothing's going to take your engineering degree away. It is more work. We have about a good portion of our students, probably about 35 to 40% of our students are doing some sort of additional curriculum outside of their engineering curriculum. The idea that you can do this is a key part about USC. Why? Because the ideas of real world problems need that broader education. Engineering Plus not only is more fun and it makes you a cooler person, it makes you a happier person from week to week and semester to semester, but it makes you a better engineer. That's why this is important to us. It has the immediate effect of happiness, but it has the long-term effect of making you a better engineer. The ideas of collaboration that we've talked about, and communication, and innovation, and entrepreneurship, those are not just technical. You need way more stuff outside of the technical degree programs, the technical classes, to be a strong collaborator, communicator, and innovator. And that's what you're going to be in order to solve those problems. And finally, this idea of making an impact, it's all about building a better world. Understanding social issues is key to understanding how to solve social problems. And that's what engineers do. And so we want you to engage across this campus. That's why we're going to force you to do that in our social issues and general education curriculum. But we want you to go further. And these ideas are fantastic. And I'd like you to think as disparate or outside of engineering as you possibly can. And we're going to talk about that a lot today at our expo. So the application process, we've mentioned it briefly, but I want to go over it. On the USC application, there's nothing different that you need to do, nothing extra that you need to submit. We don't ask for extra tests. There's no engineering application. You just fill out the common application and the USC supplement. And what you must do is list your first choice as one of our engineering majors. You must list one of the engineering majors as your first choice major. You must list one of your engineering majors as your first choice major. What did I not say? I didn't say anything about second choice. If you don't put engineering down as your first choice, we ain't going to see your application. We're not going to know that you exist, because I got 14,000 others that put it down first choice. Why would I ever go to the second choice? Didn't do that in high school, not going to do that with you. That was a dating joke, it didn't fly, I won't use it again. Never that was bad. I'm laughing at how bad it was, that was great, never use that again. I'll take a note. Your first choice must be engineering. That's any one of our engineering disciplines. And remember, this doesn't affect your chances of application admission to USC. Okay? There's no extra app, there's no extra materials. When you list the first choice major, the Common App auto-populates with 2 extra questions for engineers. I don't consider that extra work. They're 2 short answer questions. But they populate once you put in your first choice major as engineering. But there's no extra app, no extra materials, no extra tests. You just fill out the whole application process as it goes. What we're looking for our qualifications to engineering, which is not what gets you admitted, but our qualifications means that you're doing well at the same level across the university, your high school prep, you're excelling, you're taking rigorous courses, and then specifically inside of that, math and science proficiency in high levels of rigor. Are you taking the hardest classes in math and science at your school? And are you... Yes! And are you doing well? If you're on the easy track, of math and science, and you're getting straight A's, you will not be admitted to USC. Rigor, success in rigor, that's what we're evaluating in the context of your school. We need to see at least a year of calculus before you graduate. We must see that you've done well in calculus before you graduate. Some of you are going to say, well, what about my SAT math score? I've got 800 on that. And I said, great. That's awesome. Congratulations. But what's not on the SAT? Calculus. There are 58 questions on the math section. 3 of them are trigonometry. The rest are algebra 2. Congratulations, you're good as a sophomore. And that doesn't tell me anything about derivatives. That doesn't tell me anything about the math you're going to use to solve problems and build technology and solutions. Calculus, exposure, and success is one of the most critical things to meet the qualifications for our engineering program. Critical, critical, critical. You know what's also not calculus? Stats. You don't take stats in lieu of calc. You know it's an easy class. You told your parents, no, I'm taking 4 APs this year. And that's the easy A, you know it. It's not math. Never has been. Stats is the vacation you get to take when you've completed all of the calculus available at your high school. If that's the case, have a great, great year. Kind of interested in engineering is perfect. Hopefully I proved that earlier today. This idea that you're supposed to have it all figured out doesn't exist. Actually, if you think you do have it figured out, I'm kind of more worried about you. This idea that you're thinking about engineering, toying with the idea of engineering, put it down as your first choice major on the application. You will not affect your chances to USC, not affect your chances of admission to USC whatsoever. It is not any more difficult to be admitted to a USC as an engineering student than it is anything else. The admission rate to USC last year was hovering right around 10%, and that's exactly where we are. Okay? It's not any different. We don't have a different application process. There are no impacted majors. Choosing one major in engineering versus another does not have an impact on your application. We have no impacted programs. It is not any more difficult to apply. I'm going to say that 12 times. You're all going to come up and ask me that question again. I'm going to get very upset at you. It's not going to change your chance of admission. We respond to the applicant pool every single year. And we move and change as we go. And you're going to say, so everyone's going to be one major? You're always going to give me that scenario. So everyone's going to be this one thing? No, that's not how it works. It never works that way because all of you are applying to different things. And trust me, you all apply to different things. And it all works out quite well. The bad news about USC admission is that it's just plain hard to get admitted, no matter what you put down. There's no easy way in. There's no easy way in. And if you think there is, you're going to hurt yourself in the application because it's going to reek of inauthenticity. And I can smell it. We can smell it. Let's say you happen to get into the university as a different major, and then you come to me and say, hey, I was admitted. I want to switch to engineering now. I'm like, cool. We're going to put you through a whole year of coursework before we ever evaluate you again. That's not the plan. There's no back door, okay? This is a very, very serious process, and as you go through this process, you need to focus on authenticity in your application. Put that down as your first choice major. Tell us what you're thinking about. Don't try to strategize the application. There is no strategy. When you add the strategy in, it just hurts yourself, okay? So that's the strong news that I have for you today. Now, on that happy note, let's bring our students down. Guys, hustle down quickly because I ran over. Let's give a hand to our students. We're going to have them talk to you a little bit.
Hello, everyone. Wow, great to see all of you here. So, we have mics. Great. Awesome. So yeah, we're 4 students here. We're here to answer some of your questions about student life, whether it be questions, concerns, what am I doing here? But first we're going to quickly introduce ourselves. So I'm Zach. I'm a junior studying computer science games from San Antonio, Texas. A lot of my work is in virtual and augmented reality, so I run the VR and AR club on campus. I'm also working on a VR game through the Oculus Launchpad Developer Program right now. And I'm also a DJ at the student radio station, and I do events and stuff like that. It's a ton of fun.
Hey everyone, my name is Louis Galini. I'm a junior studying mechanical engineering from the Bay Area. On campus, I'm involved in the 3D printing club, where we work on a project throughout the year. And I'm also volunteering in the community through JP. And for the past 2 summers, I worked at Intel as a mechanical engineer.
Hi everyone, my name is Cami. I'm a junior studying electrical and computer engineering from Orlando, Florida. I'm also minoring in dance. I'm really involved in kind of the artistic community here. I'm part of the Chamber Ballet Company. I'm also in Environmental Corps, which is a sustainability organization. And I'm in IEEE, which is a professional organization for electrical engineers. I've had a lot of jobs on campus. I've worked for orientation programming. I've been an undergraduate TA for linear algebra, and I've done research in graph signal processing. This past summer, I was really lucky to work for Universal Creative doing UI design for them.
Hi everyone, I'm Domini. I'm a junior studying biomedical engineering with a minor in classical perspectives from Kahului, Hawaii. On campus, I am vice president of the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineering. I also do molecular imaging research at the Michelson Center for Convergent Bioscience. This past summer, I studied abroad in Paris, France through the Viterbi Overseas Program. And this coming summer, I'm excited to be interning at Edwards Life Sciences, which is a medical device company in Irvine. So with that, what questions do you all have for us?
This question is for Zach specifically. You mentioned that you're part of the computer science and indie gaming track. I was wondering for that specific program, how hard would it be to juggle work or an internship alongside a full course load?
Yeah, so the question was about, so it's addressed to me, but I think we can all kind of talk about it, about working an internship along with full course load. I'm actually doing that right now. I'm working over in Pasadena, the games studio where I was working last summer. I'll be joining them next summer, and it's been busy. It's definitely kind of increased that, especially because I'm using public transit for commute, and that takes some adds some time. But yeah, I mean, I just really have to focus down and really be where am I spending my time? Where am I wasting time? Where maybe I shouldn't be wasting time. But it is possible to kind of balance that out. Did you have anything?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Just raise your hand.
Yeah.
This is for the mechanical engineer. How do you think you're going to change the world after you graduate with what you're targeting?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
How do you think you're going to change the world throughout what you're learning through your coursework at USC as an engineer?
Wow. That's a really interesting question, and I think it's...
Repeat the question.
Yeah, repeat the
question. Yeah. Sorry. So the question was, how do I think I'll change the world with the knowledge I've learned here at USC? So basically, I feel that one of the things I learned here at USC is how to work well with other students and other people. And I think that in order to change the world, right, you can't do it by yourself. You got to do it with other people. So it's not necessarily what I'm learning; it's about how I learn it. So that's the best answer I can give you.
I would not touch that.
Great question, though.
Yeah.
When you guys came into USC, you all came with a vision. So for all 4 of you, what was the one thing that surprised you all that is not, that was not what you expected? Something totally different that if you had known would have been better.
Yeah, I came in with the question was, we all came here probably with a very vision, a specific idea. What surprised us when we got here? So what surprised me was I learned I was doing the right thing, but not in the way that I thought I'd be doing it. So I thought kind of my passions within computer science within games was going to be like highly technical. Like I'm going to go, work for a large studio, and I'm going to be an awesome engineer. I'm going to be cutthroat. No one's going to be a better engineer than me. And then I kind of grew away from that a little bit, and kind of figured out that there was like a larger creative community that I wanted to be a part of, and kind of how that called to me was pretty surprising. That I didn't actually. I'm not like pursuing the original vision of an engineer that I thought I was going to.
Yeah, I can take that too. So when I came into biomedical engineering, I knew of prosthetics, I knew of maybe like drug delivery, but there's so much more out there. And in fact, the research that I'm doing is in molecular imaging, so this is stuff that's not even out in the clinic yet. It's not x-rays, it's actually like tagging nanoparticles with like fluorophores and imaging them to better outline cancer tumors. That stuff I didn't know existed. And so the great thing is when you come to college, you are just exposed to a variety of things that you didn't know were out there.
I think for me, I assumed that school was kind of going to be the same, that like class is class and a professor can only really teach one way, and it was going to be similar to how I experienced it in high school. But it wasn't. It was actually very different because the kind of level of rigor and what they expect from you as a student in terms of engagement and outside work was much more than I expected, and also the amount of work that professors are willing to put into students was a lot more than I expected, because it is such difficult coursework. These faculty members are really there for you, and they're checking up on you and like making sure that you're succeeding in your classes and classes outside of their field as well. And kind of having that more like deep relationship with faculty wasn't something I had assumed undergraduate life would be like.
Do you have other questions?
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Oh, sorry. Oh, it's okay. Knowing you four are all in different engineering disciplines, how have you found Viterbi to kind of bring you together as one collective engineering mind to kind of solve some of the projects they've given you?
So the question was, we all study 4 different kind of disciplines of engineering. How do we kind of, at USC, come together and work with each other in our experience? So Paul earlier mentioned the Engineering Academy freshman year, so I was in that class with a nice selection of basically every discipline. I don't remember exactly, but and we just kind of talked broadly about engineering, and we kind of covered a lot of different topics. So it was easy for me to be familiar with what any of these people might be doing, and so that way we can have conversations and talk about collaboration.
Even within some student orgs, or a lot of the Viterbi student orgs, right? Whether they're design teams, maker orgs, like even for my org 3D4E, where we 3D print a project throughout the year, my team is an industrial engineer, 2 mechanical engineers, and a computer science guy. So basically, we're working together with like a bunch of different disciplines to create one project. Because in the engineering world, you can't just use one discipline to solve the problem. You have to work together as a whole.
Alright, looks like we have time for one more question, so I think we had one, over here. So the question was, why USC over the other colleges that we got into?
Yeah, we can go down the line. So one thing that I knew going into college was I loved math and science, as I'm sure a lot of you do. But I also really loved the humanities. I liked to read and write, and I thought in college that was important to me. I wanted to develop that side of me too. And so Viterbi does a really amazing job of encouraging their students to pursue areas outside of engineering. I personally have a minor in classical perspective, which basically means that I take courses in different disciplines like politics and literature and history, all related to the ancient Rome and Greece. And so that's what was important to me.
Yeah, my answer is kind of similar to Domini's. I think I was really insecure in high school coming into college about being an engineer, because I didn't know what it was, and it seemed like everyone else who wanted to major in engineering at like hard engineering schools knew it since like they were 6 years old and that sort of thing. And I come from a performing arts background, so I really wanted to be able to combine kind of the artistic world and the engineering world, and USC not only like allowed that but promoted it, and so it just felt like home the second I got here.
So for me, how I chose USC was the feeling that I got when I came to campus. I visited a lot of schools, and the connection that I had with the students here, the conversations I had, the experiences I had when I came to visit really didn't compare to those schools, so I really was convinced when I came to visit.
Yeah, it was, it kind of, USC came on my radar because of the games program, and that was, kind of unique to USC. And then when I got a chance to visit campus, and, I went and saw stuff that they showed me, and it was, just a ton of people doing awesome things, and, kind of areas that I will never touch, like music, jazz, and that kind of thing. This is really cool to kind of come here and see that, and it seemed like a kind of place that I could, just explore and grow, and I'd say have.
Let's give a round of applause for it. So, and you guys can head out. Don't leave with that. Thank you for doing that. We have a few other things to discuss, and then we're going to release you to get to the expo, right? So a couple things I want you to remember about USC. Number one, this is a place where you start how you want. Start immediately in the discipline of your choosing. Number two, it's a place where you'll have hands-on work throughout your 4 years in addition to the theoretical practice. Number three, the ideas of Engineering Plus, doing more than just engineering. Number four, focus on collaboration. 5, entrepreneurship. This is leading towards the ideas of creating things and innovating. And number 6, no other engineering school, no other university you're thinking about does all of this in one spot with the size, scope, and resources that we do. It just does not exist at that size, scope, or resource. It's not a brag, but it's just the truth. That's what we focus on. So, you all have gotten the expo booklet, yes? I want to go over it for a quick second and give you some tools to the expo before we open the expo right now, okay? A couple ideas. Number one, there's a lot of things that are happening right now. This is a live shot outside. I'm kidding, it's not. We recorded it a while ago. But there's a lot of things that are going to happen. What you're going to do, this is a live shot. I just asked students to do this. We're going to be walking out the doors of SGM. Here we go. I'm kidding also. I recorded this 2 days ago. You're going to walk out these doors, these steps. You're going to cross. That van will not be there. Another car might be. But you're going to walk across the street. And at a certain point, you're going to realize, hey, I need to look up. Okay, good. Now you look up. You're going to walk into the expo, and at the side there's going to be tables and booths and signs, and we have all of our student organizations. They've been getting set up while you're in here. And inside that expo, there's going to be lots of opportunities to meet with student organizations. The photo booth and the admission tent will be right in the center near the fountain, so when you have other questions, we have a number of materials for you. We have lots of great swag for all of you. We've got to get you outfitted with all the Viterbi stuff before you go. We want to make sure you do that. That's right inside that expo area right there. This is the overall map that's involved inside this program right here. And so a couple things to talk about. Right now, we are in SGM. That's me. Okay? This is the part of the building that we're in. And these are the micro seminars that will be inside this room starting at noon. Okay? In this room and also the room across from us and the room down the hall. This is Olin Hall of Engineering, OHE, with all these seminars. RTA's, Ronald Tudor Hall, is down here. And then what we just walked into is the plaza. So we'll have all of our student organizations, our photo booth, and our admission tent. In addition to that, this is where the lab tours will be departing from, okay? Now I know a number of you are excited about the lab tours, but here's my best advice for how today's going to go. Plan your day around the micro seminars. Look at the times that are being listed there. The seats are limited in every one of these, and there are limited tickets available, as you can tell by the capacity on the lab tours. So plan and prioritize your day. Your lab tours tickets are required. We will put the tickets out at 11:45. They're not there now. There's nothing you can do there now. It's just a grass field. At 11:45, we'll bring the tickets out so you can get your tickets for the lab tours. You cannot go on back-to-back lab tours because you will be ending a lab tour as the next one starts. It is impossible for you to be in two places at once. Okay? So, plan out your days around the micro seminars. Micro seminars typically last around 45 minutes. Lab tours are going to be 30 minutes. They will leave from that area. So inside that grass area, you'll see a signpost with the tickets on it. That's where you pick up your tickets. You go back to that signpost at the time, and it will depart exactly at that time. If you're late, there's nothing we can do about it. So you got to make sure you mind that. Now with our lab tour tickets, they are limited. And so we ask you to follow the main things. Number one, you have to be 16 or older to go on the lab tours. This is a safety provision of the university. No one under 16 is allowed in the labs. That's number one. Number two, there's a second element. One of the labs, the chemical engineering lab tour, is required to have pants and closed-toed shoes. It's going to get dangerous in there. All right? So pants and closed-toed shoes are required on the chemical engineering tour. Also, we have lots of large families here today. I ask that you all respect and prioritize prospective students touring the labs. So that means that we don't have mom, dad, aunt, grandma, sister all go on the lab tour and take up 30% of the overall capacity of that lab tour. If it's one parent plus a student, that's fine, but we're trying to make sure that the students see the lab tour. That's why we're also offering the micro seminars, so we can balance that as we go, okay? So please prioritize the students. Another note, the makerspace that we are building right now. We have taken over the engineering and science library, converting that whole thing to a giant building of makerspaces. It's exciting, it's under construction right now. The construction manager has allowed us to tour it in a limited capacity today. Those labs will not run that tour will not run at the regular times. It will run starting at 1:30, 2, and 2:30. There are only 3 of those, at 1:30, 2, and 2:30, okay? Also, we had a cancellation. A faculty member is sick today. And so she is actually going to be the one that was the micro seminar focused on systems theory and wireless robotic networks. That first one, that will not be happening. So the signs are up, but we put canceled on that because the faculty member called in sick. Unfortunately, she could not do that, so we regret that. So there's nothing we can do about it. The swag for the ViterbiEXPO is at the tent. Also, we have our Instagram challenge. And so follow Viterbi Admission, follow Viterbi Student, post a photo, it has to be public using ViterbiEXPO, hashtag ViterbiEXPO. And when you do that, a couple things will happen. Number one, the photo booth will automatically print out that photo for you so you can take home with you. Second, you go to our tent, you show us that you've done that, and we not only in addition to the free swag we're going to give you for all the Viterbi stuff, we got premium swag. In a limited capacity today to the first, I think it's about 500 people that actually post a photo using that. We basically, the deal is we made water bottles and misprinted them. And we can't get them out to anybody for real, so we're giving them to you guys. You won't notice the misprint. It's actually something that is a color thing, but like basically, we're not giving these out in an official capacity except for today. So you're going to be the only ones to get them. None of our students get them at all. It's super exciting. They're awesome water bottles. Okay? Are you good? Please don't come and ask me questions. We have to clear this room out. I will be at the expo. I'll see you at the expo, y'all. See you there.